Yes, guys, happy Sunday to you all. I hope you've all had a good weekend. The weather's meant to be getting hot again next week, so prepare to roast, get the barbies ready because next week's going to be lush. So that's a good thing. And today we're going to look at something I've not covered on here before. We're going to look at the DAX, German 40, the DAX, which is basically the main stock of Germany. And yeah, we're just going to have a look at it really because some people speak to me about it and I don't really look at it much. So that's what we're looking at. We're looking at crude oil because next week probably going to get entered on crude oil hopefully. We'll glance at gold. We'll look at the yen, the Australian dollar, New Zealand dollar, some commodities, metals, cocoa, see how that's getting on. And yeah, that's pretty much it really. We'll cover a bit, but first and foremost, let's see what's cracking next week in terms of news. So, pretty sure next week might be a pretty chill week, to be honest. And as it stands, Trump has not made any out of the blue announcements. So he's not in the mix yet, but he could well be. He could make an appearance next week because it's just what he does. So Monday, bank holiday for the yen. We got some Australian news, Australian dollar news, early hours of Tuesday morning. That could be interesting. So we'll see where the dollar is in terms of supply and demand. Ready for this event. US dollar, we got core CPI, 1:30 Tuesday. So nearly to New York stock market open. Thursday is usually a pretty round, busy day, but it looks like it's busy, but it's not as there it is. It's just from here to here. It's busy, but it's not as busy as what it usually is. Usually they like to just ram everything in on a Thursday. So that's pretty much Thursday's chill. A lot of Australian news next week though. A lot of AUD news next week. So that's going to be interesting. Friday, Euro bank holiday for France and Italy. More USD news, core retail. So gold is going to be interesting next week. Obviously, I'm still in my buys, but we're at a point where it's struggling to get up. So next week we're going to have to just monitor it nice. Because there is a bit of USD news next week that will impact the gold trade. So let's get into the DAX. See what the DAX is saying. So the DAX is at all-time highs. All-time highs. It's similar. It's a safe haven investment. The DAX. If you enter, I mean, now I wouldn't say buy right now, but if you were going back like a year ago, 2 years ago, whatever, 5 years ago, you could have a nice little buy around these areas and just leave it to just chill. Just leave it to just chill. So in terms of analysing DAX at first glance, right, it's the demand and the supply there is demand here, but supply is few and far between, to be honest, especially on the daily. So there'll probably be supply on the 4 hour, but we'll look at some daily demand first, and then we'll get in on the 4 hour. But the 4 hour, 4 hour supply at all-time highs, it's going to be difficult. It's not going to be as strong. So yeah, it's a bit of a difficult one in terms of that, guys. But the market structure itself is really decent. Like, it's just pullback, continuation, pullback, continuation, pullback, continuation, pullback, continuation. So I say, market structure and pullbacks are healthy, and it is healthy. I mean, this could be start of like a little head and shoulders, perhaps. Could have a bit of dancing around here, and then we could drop here to fill this, which is nice, strong demand. So, talking of demand, let's just get it marked a minute. This is quite difficult, probably go. So this demand is touch this demand. So we're having a reaction off of this demand. That's interesting. Some demand around here as well. but don't really need to mark that, to be honest. I suppose we could. We will. That's like a little bit of demand there. That would be like a rally, but that's a rally-based rally, that, guys. So I've identified 3 key areas of demand now, really. And this probably mini-me here, you could either get a real nice quick reaction off of it, or it will just break it. So I wouldn't put all your eggs in one basket on this bit of demand. I wouldn't, because then it's like a staircase scenario. So just keep an eye on that one. But we've had a reaction off of this demand here now, and that's a nice reaction. Like that is, some would say, like what's the moon technicals that people say, like rising moon or falling moon or whatever. We've had a reaction off of here, basically mirroring this candle, and this is probably 4-hour supply demand as well. So we'll get into the 4-hour. There is, yeah. So guys, all of this up here, that is all 4-hour supply. This is all 4-hour supply. That's real nice 4-hour supply. So this top bit of supply has obviously been tapped a few times now. Not very much. So there will still be orders in there. So in terms of, if you wanted to do a sell on the DAX, guys, like what I would personally look at doing would be this sort of scenario. Take your first chance here, but guys, you're going to have to seriously, like people that would be thinking this, you would have to seriously respect your stop loss here. And just because you get taken out, don't revenge trade and want to get back in, because you break this supply up here, then it's good night Vienna. The DAX will just continue. So just bear that in mind. I personally, I've traded the DAX, but this is not, I wouldn't be doing this. I'm not going to be doing this. I got gold and British pound, Swiss franc and crude oil and cocoa to be dealing with. I won't be doing this one as well, but this is, if I was to trade it, this is what I would trade it. This is the position I would look to take in for the DAX. And then obviously if this zone doesn't work, then your second jobby entry is here. So first entry, second entry for shorts on the German 40. And like I said before, this is only 4-hour supply as well, mind. So you would have to be careful. It's strong. Yes, it is strong. You know, it does. 4-hour supply is good as can be as good as other time frame supply and demand, but it can also at all-time highs not be as accurate. So just bear that in mind. All right. So yeah, that's what I've basically seen on the DAX, and then you'd be coming down into this demand here, sort of level on top of level, which is already in a level like that, really. Out. This is why sometimes it's easier to just incorporate all in one level, bang bang. But to be honest, guys, that's a nice little, like, a day, 2-3 day trade right there. To be honest, that'll be a nice chill trade. Obviously, we got Euro news next week, and I can imagine that would affect this. So bear that in mind, all right? Right, crude oil. We're still waiting. So this demand here, first layer of demand, didn't work. That's fine. I wasn't thinking of taking this demand in my buys anyway, for the simple fact of we had a gap here, and it would have just been silly to just enter up here knowing that you could get a better entry around here and around here. So that's my thought process on the crude oil trade. So we've broken demand, so this now can get gone because it doesn't exist anymore, and we've got this layer here. So within the next, I would like to definitely say that we would get this gap fill next week here, and I am tempted I am tempted to take my first entry on crude oil here. I am tempted to take my first entry on crude oil there. Very tempted. I'll see how it is. When we get here, I will see how it is. So this would be my first shot at the trade. If it doesn't work and we get taken out, hey ho, we'll wait for the second shot, which is just below it. Or the third shot if we were incorporating our original one here as well. But in terms of physically entering, this would be your first and second go. So crude oil, guys, we are looking good. We are looking good. This is weekly demand as well, which is even better. So daily demand covered by weekly demand. That is very good indeed. So it does make sense to fill this gap. Could we go as low as here, considering we're now in weekly demand? Weekly demand is strong, my guys. It won't. I can't see it just breaking it. So we'll see what this gap's like here, and we'll make a judgment call. We'll see how the price action is, and see if it's all good to go. Really, not just going to just get a price here and then just enter. I'll see how we react. So that's crude oil. Crude oil, I'm excited for. Have been for ages now. Gold, still in gold. Gold's cooking nicely. And I like how the daily closed on Friday now, guys. Like, that's big, huge rejection from the sellers now. Like, the sellers are being properly overpowered by the buyers here now. And that is good. On a daily perspective, on a daily candle, that's really good to see. Like, sellers tried to take over, but they didn't. They were probably taking orders from supply around these sort of areas. And they're not succeeding. I mean, this candle here on the 4 hour. So I pulled that pullback area out, and it's nice to see that it's working all right. To be honest, it's nice to see that it is working all right. But this is consolidation now, really. If I'm brutally honest, even on the 4 hourly, guys, this is what you call horrible consolidation. To be honest. And it's probably, I wouldn't be surprised if we do just dance around and consolidate until we get a news announcement. I mean, saying that, we could open up with a gap tonight. We could open up with some momentum tonight in the Asian session, because there has been things going on over the weekend with Russia, Ukraine and Trump and that, trying to make ceasefire deals. So things like that will impact it when it opens this evening. So we got to bear in mind. We've got to bear that in mind. And we are just consolidating sideways. So it will probably take something, relatively big to get it out of this area now. And I'm still sticking to my bias of up here. I'm still sticking to that, because when we do break here, that's a nice clean move. We'll get a nice clean move at least to 23, 420 ish. That'll be a nice drive up. And then how we then react around here, we'll have to cross that bridge when we get to it. But like I said the other day, this is very strong supply. This is very strong supply. I can't see it just hitting the supply and just punching straight through it. I can't really see that. We could, but might take a couple of hours, a day or two. So in terms of holding the gold position, we're at a bit of a crossroads, because from this point now, I can imagine if Russia and Ukraine come up with a ceasefire, the value of gold will drop down a bit, because there's less volatility going on then in the world. So this could be a bit of a turning point where we are for the long term. We could start turning, depending on how things go over the weekend, this could be a bit of a turning point. Only for a pullback and continuation, or a turning point full stop for gold. But personally, I can't really see it. Personally, I don't know what it is. I just keep thinking it's going to keep going up. A lot of world conditions is making me think towards that as well. And obviously with Federal Reserve. So yeah, just keep going up gold if you want. That'd be great. But if not, then fair enough. So that's gold. Gold's just sideways, not doing much. Let's have a look at the US dollar quickly. So the US dollar is doing the same as gold. It's consolidating sideways. And in terms of these areas that we're in no man's land. Right, it wouldn't be wise to take a buy here. It wouldn't be wise to take a sell here. For a few different reasons. Try and vision this. Try vision that yellow box that I've just marked, right? And then vision this, and then vision this. Vision that demand, vision this supply. So we are pretty much in the middle of nowhere, in no man's land. We are very similar to gold, basically. And it will take a news announcement now to break out of these cycles. So, and this is the tricky part now, where it doesn't know whether it wants to go up or down. So then this is where you have to use all your other factors that you got at your disposal in terms of like your fundamentals, so your news. You can look online and find out all sorts of stuff, and then obviously read in the higher time frame supply and demand as well. So in terms of like a US dollar trade, you're probably going to get not much movement for a couple of hours tonight, tomorrow morning until the news comes. Or is the news Tuesday? I think the news is Tuesday. So we might just consolidate till Tuesday on gold and the US dollar, guys, if I'm completely honest with you. We could well just consolidate until news on Tuesday, which I'm pretty sure is CPI. So bear that in mind. And then obviously when we start getting break in this consolidation zone that we're in now, we'll start getting breaks down to here. Then we're going to break this downward structure and then potentially mirror this move here and then get into this demand. And then once you are in this demand, you've broken that upward structure. So that's invalid. And then you've created new downward structure. Sorry, my mistake, my bad. Create a new downward structure, invalidating the upward structure. So that's pretty much that, to be honest. I mean, again, like on the daily, that's a pretty good point. Like magical trend line, this could just be a nice pullback here on the daily time frame. Let's see it. So just keep an eye on it, really. See how it goes, how it opens up at the start of next week. Tonight, and then the first couple of days of next week. Just see how it goes, really. The Swiss franc on its way down nicely, which is nice. Very, very nice. Like I sort of visioned like a massive head and shoulders pattern on the Swiss franc here, because we're not at all-time highs, but we are higher than we have been since 2011. So we pretty much are at all-time highs. And I can vision this head and shoulders here. So a bit more dancing around here and then a nice dwindle down would be nice on the Swiss franc. That'd be quite good. The New Zealand dollar, we're still dancing around in this consolidation area. We're still sideways. We're still not doing much. So it's a difficult one to go on at the moment, guys. There's not much New Zealand dollar news next week either. So it's waiting for something. The New Zealand dollar is waiting for something for sure. If we look at the Australian dollar could probably be in a similar situation in a minute when we check. But yeah, I'm still waiting for these lows to get broken for continuation down and then a reaction off the demand and then off we go. That's what I'm waiting for the New Zealand dollar. And like I said before, the New Zealand dollar is actually quite a chill. It's a chill It's a chill currency. It's like it's one of the powerhouses of the Asian session, and it's just nice. I do. When you get it right, when you catch a good New Zealand dollar trade right, it's nice. I do like it. But yeah, we're just basically, guys, we're still consolidating and we're waiting for these lows to be broken and then a clean move down, or in the clean move up and a reaction. So we're chilling out with that. The Mexican peso, uh, it's slow, isn't it? It's just, look, since April, yeah, it's trending upwards nice. Like there's no doubt about that. Like when it trends nice, but it's just slow. So the Mexican peso, if you want like a few month trade, like 4 6 months trade, this is the one to trade. Catch it right, and this is the one to trade. So I'll bear that in mind for myself, to be honest. Like get up into some, yeah, supply up here, level on top of level supply. So here we go, look. So long term scenario that I would like to see, yeah, with the Mexican peso is basically we'll see a reaction up around these supply levels. See reactions around these supply levels, basically. Yeah. So we'll leave this here so we can keep an eye on it when we go over it in the next weekend. Shall we get on through the week? Japanese yen. So again, bank holiday tomorrow. Well, tonight for the Japanese yen, and since Monday, so the yen has just consolidated all week. All of last week, the yen has just been consolidating. Sideways, not going up, not going down. And with the news coming for the bank holiday coming for the yen, flipping out. I mean, look at this clean move. I think nice entries for the yen is this. But then let's just check the higher time frame. So you want to be careful with that. Now I've looked at the higher time frame because that's only 4 hour demand that I've got marked there. So you do break that, you're going to go down quite a way. So let's take that off. The yen, guys, is hard to call, to be honest, at the moment. I personally not liking it at the moment. But for scalpers and intraday, you could get a nice move here. Sort of catch it mid in the range. Like that. It's a nice little quick move on the yen. Something to bear in mind. But other than that, guys, there ain't really too much to be talking about with it. It's just the yen. Nice, chilled out, slow, not doing a lot in a minute since they've had some big things happening over there. The euro. We'll just go Euro USD, talk about that. The pound. Yeah, so the pound. Sort of want the pound to keep gaining strength, really, in terms of the trade that I'm in, the British pound Swiss franc, which it has definitely got the potential to do that. Yes, it does. How did the weekly close? So the weekly closed in near enough engulfing last week's weekly. Yes. Yes, it did. So that's a good sign. Let's take this off. So, but we're creating gaps. That is the only problem, guys. That is my only issue with my British pound Swiss franc long. My only issue is we're creating gaps on the daily on the British pound, and that is a bit frustrating. But like last week, I went back in time and we checked out the British pound historically, and like there is gaps that are unfilled. So it's not the end of the world. It's something to think about, but it's not the end of the world. You know, if price does come back to fill these recent gaps that we've created, so be it. It does, but it could quite happily just keep going, really. And when the Bank of England announces what they announce and says, pumps money into the economy or whatever. It's like pumping money into the market, and then how do I explain it? It's like it's going to follow through its actions. It's just had a load of money put into it. Essentially, it will follow through its actions, and that's what it's doing really. So we've broken this structure as well, this downward structure now. Oh man, we've on the 4, on the daily on the 4 hour, which is that candle. So we start breaking these highs here. We're laughing really. We start breaking these highs, then we're going to be getting up into this big area of supply. And when we get up into this big area of supply, it's going to be interesting to see what it does. And then we'll go out onto the weekly. Yeah, you'll be completely. So this is on the weekly, just a nice pullback on the weekly time frame. Look, that's all this was a nice pullback. We can get rid of this now. It's in the way. That's a nice pullback on the weekly for continuation. So we could just leave that gap and continue now, guys. I mean, there is weekly gaps. I'm pretty sure there is weekly gaps. There's got to be some weekly gaps. I can't see any weekly gaps. There's one. Not very prominent, but there is one. Another one there. So there is gaps on the weekly, so that's a good sign. That is a good sign. And from the overall bigger picture, I mean, from January this year, we sort of bottomed, didn't we? Sort of bottomed, and we've now just continued. And that really, on the weekly, looking at the pound, is really actually quite healthy, to be honest. That's a healthy uptrend now. So we'll pull back in, and then we're continuing. So yeah, to be honest, I see some strength coming in the pound long term, guys, is what I'm seeing. I'm seeing some strength for sure coming in for the pound in the long term, which is good. Australian dollar, similar-ish to the New Zealand dollar. Not really too much to speak about, guys. We've come into this demand, 50% of it, and we've pulled away from it with a gap down here. So strength in the Australian dollar, but remember, next week's quite a busy week for Australian dollar news, guys. So that's what you're going to have to bear in mind, all right? Don't just go jumping in now because we're up here and we could come in, fill the gap and continue. So, yeah, just bear that in mind with the Australian dollar next week, guys. Right, let's look at copper. So copper's pulling away from the demand, but it's not filled the gap. So this could be a bit tricky. Oh no, what have I done? Move that way. So this could be a bit tricky now, because I've said to people, sit on your hands and wait out. Well, it's not tricky at all, to be honest. Don't know why I'm saying this could be a bit tricky. It's not tricky at all. If you're already in it and you're in profit, I would probably close it, to be honest, because there is a very big gap here that does need to be filled. And that's an account burner, that move. So I would just chill out and wait. If you don't manage your risk, copper will definitely not do you any favors. So I would just put your stop loss to break even and see what happens. You got a real nice good entry down here, and you're minimizing some nice losses for look at the gain. All right, so copper, there is definitely going to be FOMO going on with people's psychology with this one. You're going to have to not let it affect you. It's created daily demand. So, interesting. I'm really quite surprised that, to be honest, I think I've spoke about this, but I'm really quite surprised that obviously we've gapped that's a massive gap as well, obviously, but we've gapped down with all this power and then we've not filled that gap. Like, that's a bit annoying, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? Like, we've dropped God knows how many flipping thousands of pips and we've stopped just short of the line here. Like, that's annoying. That is annoying, but it is what it is. It is what it is. So copper, if you're in it, good luck. Good luck. Let's have a look at wheat. So wheat started to go real nice. We've broken these highs, not that quite high quite, but we've broken them lower highs. We've broken that, and we'll just pull back in. So we could pull back down to here around these areas and continuation. But wheat's going to be nice to see next week. It's slow. It's a chilled out pair, guys. To be honest, it is a chilled out pair. I call everything pairs just because it's easy. I know what I mean. It's a chilled out thing that moves. So yeah, it's a nice running trade to be in because it's just one of them that just ticks over, basically. So if you're in it, pat on the back, happy days. Like I said, I'm still keen to get into it really, but I've got cocoa and Apple that I've got my eyes on. But Apple, I think, is gone now for a couple of weeks. So I could get into wheat, to be honest. There's something else I've really got my eye on. Can't remember what it is at the minute. It'll come to me though. Corn. So this is good for corn. We want to see a nice continuation down here to get a reaction off of this demand. So corn's nice and relaxed. Oh, that's nice to see. First time I've seen this since I want to say Wednesday, Thursday last week. That's good to see. Look, guys, we've got a nice gap down now. Awesome, awesome, awesome. So hopefully Monday, Tuesday we get entered on cocoa, guys, and then we have our first target. Be interesting to see how it opens tonight. But yeah, nice. So crude oil, guys, crude oil. That was it. That was the exciting one. It come to me. No, and I know we're on cocoa as well. Cocoa and crude oil, guys, and wheat. Cocoa and crude oil mainly are my big ones for next week. So happy days. Let's get a nice continuation down here to get entered down here, and then away we go. So again, it's a bit of a waiting game. Be interested to see how the markets open. Like I do have a sneaky feeling the markets are going to be opening with a gap tonight. I do have a sneaky feeling, and yeah, I think unfortunately it is what it is. It's part of it. Hopefully, it doesn't affect gold too much. So yeah, cocoa, happy days. I know people's got in these coffee buys. These coffee buys are nice, real nice. Major pullback. Now for the continuation. That's nice. If you're in that, fair play. Orange juice, we're starting to get a nice reaction now. We are starting to get a nice reaction on orange juice here. We've definitely got 4-hourly demand here because look at that and then that. So I think we could have a gap tonight with orange juice, guys. That's just something to bear in mind. Other than that, we're still chilling, we're still sideways, and we're still just waiting. So I want to look at Amazon as well. Let's have a look at Amazon. Where's Amazon? Amazon. There we go. Is that Amazon? Yeah. Someone spoke to me about Amazon, and just as I thought, Amazon is really high. So if people are thinking to get into some buys on Amazon, wait, and we'll cross the bridge when we get to it. But at the moment, Amazon's in the middle, and well, it's not in the middle of nowhere. It's at all-time highs. So we'll just chill out with Amazon for the minute. We'll look at Apple. Look at Apple. So frustrating. My original idea was here. Oh man, and I was in it. But I didn't feel comfortable, so I pulled it out, and then it does that, and it's like, yeah, happy days, fair enough. The power of Trump speaks again. And there we have it. So Apple, yeah, See you later. Bye bye. Absolutely smashed this zone. Well, it wasn't a zone, it was a gap. What I was saying was I wanted to see how the price reacted around filling this gap and if we would get a retracement back down here. We are creating gaps on the way up, but yeah, it's gone really, guys. I think Apple's gone. I don't think we're going to get a retracement back down to here anytime soon now. With the £100 billion investment, I think Apple's set for a good couple of weeks now. And then we got like we'll have like earnings as well, stocks earnings coming up at some point. So have a keep an eye on that. Obviously, Apple just makes profit, doesn't it? Like it's a very profitable company. But Apple's good. Fair play if people are in these Apple buys on stocks accounts. Happy days. Pat on the back. Fair play to you. We'll just have a little look at Google. Google all-time highs again, isn't it? Pretty much, yeah, filling that gap. Yeah. See, when Trump done all these tariffs at the start of the year, I bought a load of stocks all down around here. And I pulled it out around here. But yeah, I mean, I love my stocks. I absolutely love it. It's just chill. It's a completely different beast to Forex, guys, to be honest. Like, people think stocks are more chilled out. They're worse. It can be worse than Forex in its own way. To be honest, it could be just as nasty in its own little way. So don't ever take stocks for granted. Don't take anything in the financial world for granted, to be honest. Because, it just does what it does. And it doesn't matter how many computer screens you got, how many indicators you got, how many risk management tools like magic keys you got, or anything along those type of lines. Like, it is literally it is unpredictable. So you just gotta read things, really. And what I see with Google is to be left alone for a little while. Tesla, where's the old Tesla? Mr. Musk. Tesla's sideways. And I wouldn't be surprised that Tesla's sideways because of Musk falling out with Trump a few months ago now. That's probably why we're sideways. Because obviously, if Trump and Musk got on, then I wouldn't be surprised if we'd be up around this sort of area. If things all went okay with their political relationship, then we'd probably be up around here. To be honest, definitely. So, in terms of like the higher time frame perspective on Tesla, we're in no man's land now. We got room to go down, we got room to go up. So that's just one thing that you need to bear in mind. There is room to the upside and to the downside. So that's where the balance and supply comes into play, and analysing it well. So I quite like Tesla. I just like reading it. I just like looking at it on the chart. So it's just nice, and I'm going to keep an eye on it. Really, I'm just going to see what it does over the next couple of weeks. Similar to Google, I think Google's just going to just keep going now, and then it'll be something big to make Google come back for nicer entries. But Google could just at least keep going up for 6 months now. Good 6 months. Tesla sideways, but it'll when it gets going, it'll go as well. Amazon. Oh, what's that? Ambev. Yeah, Ambev. That's an American beverage company. And I've said this to people outside, like people that I bump into. Like, I'm going to invest some money into Ambev for multiple reasons, and I'll tell you one of my reasons. One of my biggest reasons is Football World Cup in South America next year. So obviously, everyone will be on the beer watching the Football World Cup, and this company is a company that distributes and manufactures a lot of beverages in that part of the world, so like Budweiser, Stella, and all that sort of stuff. So bear that in mind. There you go. There's a little secret there for you. There's one of my personal secrets I don't let on, but there's a little one there. Just have a think about that. So yeah, that's my view on Ambev for the long term. But I'm waiting for some more bargain prices, guys. For this company, I'm not just going to get in this company here. I'm waiting for bargain prices. And it's going to take probably 2 months to get bargain prices. So Ambev, I'm excited for as well. I did. Let's have a look at that Hexatronic. Actually, no, we won't. Time's getting on a bit. We'll look at that next week. Other than that, guys, we'll have a quick read. British pound, US dollar. People want to know about the British pound, US dollar. So a lot of this, guys, I said about the US dollar at the start of the video. A lot of this is going to be hindered by the US dollar now, especially the British pound. The British pound, US dollar is two powerhouse currencies. They're both powerhouses. They both have their own what's the word I'm looking for? Like they both move well. They're just they impact the market a lot. Basically, is what I'm trying to explain. And again, we're consolidating because the US dollar and gold is consolidating. So we are consolidating for the British pound, US dollar, which is nicknamed cable as well, by the way. And we've sort of broken all these downtrending lows, highs. Here we go. So supply, demand. All of this is demand. No, it's not. That's rubbish demand. That is like, this is 4-hour demand. This is rubbish. That's just not doing anything. So demand. We could be creating either supply or demand up here. So we're in a very key area here. This is a very key area. We're basically waiting to see what price does when it gets to either the bottom of the consolidation zone or where it is now. And again, it goes back to what I've been saying earlier on, the fact of we could get some market gaps this evening. So we need to be patient with the British pound US dollar, guys. We need to be patient. The scenarios are these at the minute. And I'm not going to do any arrows off of the demand or the supply that I've got marked. But what I'm trying to explain is the scenario is up or down. Basically, it's putting itself in a precarious situation. Let's check daily. Yeah, I mean daily, because even the daily. So this just could be a pullback on the uptrend for a continuation, or we could be, having a little minor pullback here to then continue breaking these highs. So the British pound US dollar is a difficult one at the minute, guys. It's one that I will keep on top of, and it's one that I will update throughout next week, to be honest, because I do get a lot of questions about it. And because I personally don't trade it, I don't really look at it much. But I will start looking at it now. I'll flag it up. Where's my little flag? Why is it in my stocks thing? I need to change that. But I flagged it up, so I'll keep an eye on it, and I need to sort my boxes out and get a bit more organised, because everything's a bit all over the place at the moment. So British pound, US dollar, just chill, and we'll monitor it and see what happens when we get out of this consolidation and make an assessment on the situation then, basically. And we'll just quickly check Euro USD whilst we're at it. No, Euro USD. Again, same sort of scenario, guys. We're in key areas and we're consolidating. So my personal opinion is, price is waiting for that. So basically we got good, and a lot of the problem is when we do break out this consolidation, it will be with some force, it will be with some power. There's going to be people waiting for demand buys down here, which is nearly broken. So I wouldn't really put all your eggs in one basket on this demand. My personal opinion is we break up to the upside and we get reactions off of this supply. But then you have to be careful that you're breaking these highs here to the left as well. So we'll see how this supply is. But at the minute, it's an up or down in no man's land scenario, the Euro US dollar, guys. So again, I'll highlight it and I will keep an eye on it for next week. I will keep an eye on it for next week. And I wouldn't be surprised again if this does open up with a gap this evening. Which, yeah, it could happen. But other than that, yeah, other than the ones that I'm going to keep an eye on, got crude oil as well. I'm going to have to write a list down so I know what I need to keep on top of. I'll do that. I'll get a list sorted so I know what things need to keep things ticking on. But yeah, that's that, guys. To be honest, that's it for today. I will keep an eye on things, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your weekend. And I will speak to you next week. Cheers.